I had a discussion with an individual from the White House, and that occurred back on September the 23rd, I believe. And that person basically told me that, hey, once these immigrants get across the border, that's all we really care about. And to me, that's a problem. That's a huge problem, because we have individuals that come to a country, they get dropped off into a community, they have absolutely no infrastructure, they have absolutely no support, they have absolutely no guidance from the federal government about what to do, how to live, how to survive. And this is the ramifications of that activity. This is the ramifications of not monitoring what's occurring and how it's occurring and who it is occurring to. And so, Aurora, we are now in the process, as many other cities throughout this nation, of trying to pick up the pieces of an incredibly bad system that was in place.
These people really just opened up the border on purpose and brought in a bunch of murderers and rapists. They did it on purpose. And do remember that. None of this was a whoopsie. They didn't trip and fall and oops, we left the border open. The people did this to us on purpose. And now people are getting their fingernails pulled out in Aurora. Joining me now, retired ICE Special Agent Victor Avila. Victor, okay, so people are having their fingernails pulled out in Aurora, Colorado. Do I have that right?
You do. I call them cartels. That's what I call them, because that's exactly what these guys are. And one thing I want to mention here, Jesse, is that all of a sudden they're interested about it. By the way, I have a lot of contacts in Colorado. I used to live there, and they've been concerned about this for years. And the Aurora Police Department and the mayor ignored their cries for help about these guys taking over the apartment complexes and terrorizing the community. I'm glad they finally accepted it. But why does it have to happen after more people are victimized and tortured? This is reminiscent of cartel activity, and this is the difference I want people to understand with Tren de Aragua. They're not a gang. Stop calling them a gang. They are cartel. They're organized criminals. They have very strong ties to the Maduro regime. These people have strong ties to Hezbollah and Iran. I tell you that because I've been talking to a lot of my intel friends that are telling me to put this out, because that's how serious this group of people are. They're here with a very different agenda, and this is a national security issue, Jesse.
Victor, could you expand on that a bit as much as you can with what you're allowed to say? People hear Venezuelan prison gang. Sorry, Victor, I know you're going to yell at me for saying that, but that's what they were known as, a Venezuelan prison gang. But ties to Hezbollah. How does that happen? Why? What?
Yeah, this goes back to obviously the Maduro regime. It actually goes back to Hugo Chavez, and a lot of these guys are what they call Chavistas, Hugo Chavez sympathizers, meaning they have a different ideology. We're talking about socialism. We're talking about communism here. We're talking about the relationship that Venezuela has with Hezbollah. Yes, Hezbollah, terrorist organization, and Iran. Yes, Iran is heavily present in Venezuela, but who else is involved? Who else is friend with Venezuela? Mexico is, Cuba is, and so China is. And so you have this bigger picture that we have to really pay attention. These happen to be the soldiers that are executing the orders of these nations in our country, literally killing us, committing crimes, murdering, raping our daughters. This is what these Tren de Aragua people are. And this is a very different category that I know January 20th is right around the corner, but man, I can't get here soon enough.
No doubt about it. Victor, can you explain maybe why Venezuela became part of this group? Those are some heavy hitters you just named in there. And Venezuela, is this just about the oil? Is this about their proximity to us? Why? How did Venezuela become a hub for all this garbage?
I think it comes down to political ideology. We are so separate from them. And yes, it has to do with oil. Yes, it has to do with money. It has to do with trade. It has to do with a lot of things. But here it has to do with, I think, ideology, what they want everybody else to follow. Initially, if you remember, Jesse, when the Venezuelans started coming in 4 years ago, a lot of people were saying, oh, they're escaping socialism. They're going to actually be here supporting the conservative movement in the United States. And I was one of the first ones to say, no, actually, no. What they're bringing here is the only thing they know, And that's the culture that were brought up in, of hating the police, of hating the government that's for the people, and supporting the communist regime of their country. That's what they know, and that's what they have come here to try to instill in our communities. And we've actually seen them do it physically, doing it by actually hurting them. And so this is where I think we have to focus. I know the intel community in different agencies is at least already focused on this. So this is going to be a big priority to take these groups down.
Victor, is this something we're going to be able to do? January 20th, Trump comes in, Tom Homan, all these things. Look, it sounds great, and I want them all rounded up. I want them all gone. How ingrained in their communities are these groups already? Is it realistic to think in a year, in 2 years, Tren de Aragua is a thing of the past here in the country?
Absolutely. And I say that without any hesitation. This is what you're going to see. I'm glad you said that time frame, because it's not going to happen overnight, but it is going to happen. We're going to go community to community, Dallas, Texas, San Antonio, Aurora, Colorado, Chicago, everywhere in every state where they have gathered and established their roots. We're going to go after them there. Listen, this is why we need the help of the locals. The state and local police is so important, because they know where these individuals live. We need the cooperation from these mayors and these governors. Despite what they feel about immigration, this is not a political issue. This is about public safety. This is about national security. We want to cooperate. The federal government work hand in hand with the county jails where a lot of these guys are encountered. So we could then, as soon as we know where these guys are at, go after them and not only detain them, some of them might be facing charges. And then after they do that, get removed back to their country.
Victor, finally, we're getting word there's another migrant caravan, surprise, surprise, racing towards the border, trying to get there before Trump comes into office. How quickly is Trump going to be able to force Mexico's assistance to stop all this? We all know how this works when Democrats take over. Mexico knows they just have to whisk these people through the country as fast as possible, and of course, we'll take them all in like suckers.
Yeah, this what you're describing is the ant operation. If you haven't heard this before, a few of my colleagues and other reporters have reported about this ant operation of separating these groups from 5,000 down to 100, a group of 80, 100, 120. And that's what you're seeing on a daily basis show up in Texas and New Mexico and Arizona. And so they're still coming in. It hasn't stopped for a second. The people are just coming in. You're just not going to see tremendous large numbers in one location. As far as Mexico, let me tell you, I'm really concerned about what step Mexico is going to take. They're kind of hesitant. They haven't taken the Canada approach. We saw what Trudeau is doing and the response that Canada gave. Mexico's kind of hesitant a little bit, and I'm really concerned about that. But one thing is what the government does. The other thing is how the cartels react. And that's what I'm interested in, because the cartels have a stronghold on the country of Mexico. And I really want to see their reaction if they're going to allow this to happen, because, Jesse, they've had a free-for-all in the last 4 years. This is the best time to have been a cartel member. And so all of a sudden it is going to stop. And let me tell you, that's going to be the easy part on the border, is going back to enforcement. You're going to see a dramatic drop of people even trying to come in. How is the cartel going to react to that? That's where we have to be prepared.
No doubt. Victor, thank you, my brother. I appreciate it. I would thank you for coming to my YouTube channel, but I know how brilliant it is, and I know you love it here. So subscribe and watch. We're going to start really ramping things up and putting some funny stuff, some interesting stuff out there, some collaborations. Either way, my YouTube channel is officially the place to be. So stick around.